Alright guys, what's up? Sativ here once again, bringing you some informational videos. In this video I'm going to be going over my macros and how I got them set up. I'm not necessarily going to go over every single macro that I use, because that would just make this video way too long, and I don't think anyone wants to sit through 30 minutes of me talking about every single macro that I use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to set up your own macros. Alright, so let's get started with the basics. As you can see here, this macro has a whole bunch of gibberish in it. We're going to start with this first part here, mod control. Now, adding mod to your macro allows your macro to do all kinds of things depending on which modifier you are holding. Now, if you're holding shift or control or no modifier. So the way these work is with no modifier, this macro will target Arena 1. If I'm holding the modifier shift, it will focus Arena 1. And if I'm holding the modifier control while I'm in stances, now stances for rogue include stealth, vanish, or shadow dance. So if I'm holding control while in stealth, vanish, or shadow dance, this macro will sap my Arena 1. So we're going to set this up to blind as well. So we're going to go /cast space bracket mod colon ctrl for control comma stance colon 0. Now stance 0 is the basic stance for out of stealth, comma at Arena 1. Close bracket on there and space blind. So what we did here is, if we're holding the modifier control, this now will, and we're out of stealth, this macro will now cast blind at our Arena 1. So though these macros may seem pretty confusing, they're all the same thing in the end. They're all the exact same thing. This macro here, a no mod stance 0, so if I'm holding no modifier with no stance, this macro here is going to cast backstab. But if I'm in stealth, it's going to cast ambush. Same with my garrote up there. You see that my garrote is also my gouge, and my kidney shot is also my cheap shot. That's because all of these macros are designed to actually see. I have something that's redundant here in this macro that I'm going to fix right quick, live for you guys. /2/3. There we go. Pretty simple. So the basic thing that you need to understand is the modifier, mod colon shift or control, and stances. Very important. Now when using these shift and control modifiers, you need to make sure that you go in and unkeybind the shift and control versions of those buttons. Now as you can see, I use 6, 9, equal sign, I, Q, S, all kinds of weird stuff. Now if I were to hit Control S, normally it would change the sound. It would mute the sound. But Control S is my focus shiv macro, so I can't have it doing that. So I had to go into my options, or my keybind is in unkeybind everything that I'm using. Now it's really easy to do that. I'm not going to do it on this character because I'd ruin myself. So no, I can do it on this character and just hit cancel. So the way to unkeybind everything is to just hold control and just go at it. Like, just hold control and do all your keybinds. 2, 3, 4, 5, Q, S, W, E, W, A, like everything. And then do the same thing for shift. And doing that will clear all your keybinds for that variant and leave your other ones intact. And then you can go over and replace all those buttons like 1, 2, 3, 4, F, R, X, E, Q, S, G, all those buttons. You can replace them with macros that have shift and control versions and really save yourself space in your bars. So once you've gone and set yourself up with all those key bindings being free, you're probably going to be missing a lot of spots in your bars. So for example, when I first set this up, I had shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4 right here, and I mean, they're just blank, right? So I had to move all my key bindings around a little bit and they kind of felt awkward at first, or looked awkward at least, but once you realize it's just the same thing, only it's on one button now, you'll really start to get comfortable with those keybinds. So I'm going to go ahead and set up some control and shift modifiers. I'm going to show you how I have mine set up. Now, I showed you guys these ones, my Arena 1, 2, 3, and I can't stress this enough. Every single person should make these and should actively be using these macros. But we're going to go ahead and do the first thing I did when I set up these macros, which was my 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just like to build myself a few slash casts, get myself a little frame going. I'm going to start with no mod stance 0. Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure. Can never be too sure if you're doing it correctly. Gouge. So obviously we saved it and it didn't have a stance, so let's check. Yes, I messed it up somewhere. Nod mod. NOD mod. The nod mod is not what we want. We want a no mod. So once we fixed our typos, everything should be gravy. So mod. No, let's go for no mod once more, just to make it clean. Make it easier on you guys. I'm not gonna enforce my bad habits on my new friends here. So 1, 2, 3. So while we're in a stance, this is going to garrote people. Oh, I'm going to spell garrote improperly. Apparently. That is mighty embarrassing. No, I'm going to mess up. I did it again! Look, the nod mod! How can you do that 2 times in a row and not even notice? You guys are probably sitting there watching this video like, Sativ, get your shit together, man. So mod shift comma stance comma 1 or no, 0. Come on now, 0/1/2/3 sprint. What? No, I didn't. What? You're interrupting my video, dude. Okay. Anyway, so if we're holding shift, this macro is going to sprint. Mod control mod ctrl comma stance :0 bracket gouge. Oh, see, we're forgetting the most important aspect of the control variant, the focus, the at focus. Now this bad boy is going to cast gouge at our focus target when we want it to. And what we can do to save ourselves a little bit of time here is just take this, paste it, change the stances up a little bit. Let's give it a stance 1, 2, and 3. And since we're using stance 1, 2, and 3, which is stealth, we're going to make this bad boy garrote our focus. So let's go on back here to the target dummies. Give it a... Which one am I targeting there? This is my focus target. So I should be garroting this one. Let's switch my focus to this one now and gouge it. Oh, see? Now I'm using the wrong macro. We can never be too sure if my macro is working. Let me switch them out. Let's get our super clutch re-stealth off here. They didn't even see that one coming. Oh, so our garrote is working. Let's switch focuses. You know, we're DPS in this guy, and we want to gouge his healer. Oh yeah, we're locking this guy down. He doesn't even know what's going on. Alright, great job, team. So as I was saying earlier, I mean, if you're comfortable taking the plunge and completely redoing your bars, including shift and control modifiers for, you know, all your cooldowns and your focus casting everything, power to you. I mean, it's really a step in the right direction if you're trying to improve as a player. But, I mean, all it really does is save space on your bars. So if you're really okay on space already, I don't suggest setting up the cooldown aspect of it, but what I really do want you to do is the focus part of it. So I mean, pick a modifier that you want to be your focus cast, And I mean just start setting up macros for your 1, 2, and 3, and whatever keybinds you want to have focus versions of. So I'm going to be including the skeleton, or the template, I guess, for these macros, so you can get started on them yourself. You know, like right now my 3 is Eviscerate, and in stealth it's a sap, and when I'm holding control I sap my focus. So when I'm dancing and I hit control 3, like no matter what, I'm gonna sap my focus because I have it on my non-paging bar, but you guys are using the paging bar, so you're gonna want to either switch off the paging bar or just use the paging bar, and make sure you put the macro in all 3 spots. So that would be in your shadow dance. You know, you put the macro in your shadow dance, you put the macro while you're in stealth, and while you're out of stealth. You know, those are your main stances. Vanish and shadow dance share a stance. I put 1, 2, 3 in there just because it's habit and it makes the macro complete, in my opinion. So for starters, you're gonna want Shiv, you're gonna want Gouge, you're gonna want Sap, you're gonna want Blind, you're gonna want Kick, you're gonna want to redirect Kidney Shot macro, which I have here. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to include it in the description of the video alongside this here, the empty macro, and a full one with the shift. If you're interested in the shift, I'll include that too. Other than that though, I mean, I've gone over the modifiers, I've gone over the stances. You should have a pretty basic understanding of how to set up at focus for all of your abilities that you want. And if you're having any problems with setting any of this up, I mean, drop a comment below. I'll be sure to hook you up. I mean, I could do a little mini tutorial for you if you're really having a hard time, and I'll help you get this going. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something and are looking forward to my next video. Take care, guys.